Still Bills, what's the deal, man? We back. It's Saturday. I'm in the midst of, cooking right now, man. Brother gonna make some chicken, macaroni, mashed potatoes, and cornbread, honey cornbread. So you gotta do it early, man. My chicken be starting. I don't be like it be weird, man. I be taking too long to cook because it don't cook all the way through. Man, this shit is for the birds, man. So I gotta start that shit in the now. So by the time 7 o'clock get here, brother ready to sit down and chow down, man. But peak game, man, I want to get into something, man. And that's Najee Lopez versus Manny Gallegos from last night. Man, that is a potential fight of the year candidate. That is a potential fight of the year candidate, man. I don't want to indict Najee right now. Like, the paradigm is weird with this, with this fight right here because Khalil Cole went in there and got stopped by Manny Gallegos, and when they first faced off. I don't know the situation surrounding him as to why he got stopped, but he did get stopped. And then he came back in the rematch and violated dude, man. Like he came back and he violated dude. Najee Lopez went in there last night and he was doing good work. He was landing the jab a lot, really effectively early on, but that head clash, that clearly had a visible effect on him. And it slowed his work rate down. He was a lot more hittable because he's so focused on the blood gushing into his eyes or whatever. That you started really seeing Gallegos having a lot of success in that second round. A lot of success. Both of them did really good body work, but he was landing up top pretty effectively, consistently on Najee Lopez, and Najee Lopez just could not get out of the way of the left hook that was coming, man. He would just completely abandon his defense. I'm like, you should not be getting hit this much. Your defensive, at least in my estimation of things, your defensive instincts should kick in that much higher because now you're that much more at risk because you're cut. You're cut and you're getting hit flush. And I'm not so, I think Najee, this was a dope fight for him. It was a good testament because, he did eventually come back around and he did get the stop. And he got dropped though. He got dropped. I was like, I think two things, I do think Najee Lopez needs just a little bit more seasoning. But we do have to give credit to, Manny Gallegos because he's been in there with Khalil Cole twice, stopped him once, got stopped in a rematch, and then he was able to do what he did to Najee Lopez. He could be a potential player as a light heavyweight. But he was having a lot of success with Najee Lopez, man. Really good body work. And, it was just like the shots that he was landing was seeming to have that much more of an effect. But I also think that was in tandem with Najee Lopez suffering an early cut in the fight. So I'm in between. I'm a bit in between. I'm a bit in between with that fight, man. I think Najee Lopez has what it takes to be a player in the division as well, but I do think those eggs need a little bit more bacon. And I don't think he's as big of a puncher. I don't think he's that big of a puncher. I think he's going to have respectable power, but is he going to be like when I look at Khalil Cole and how bad he busted up Gallegos in that first and second round? The dude broke that dude's nose in around about the first or the second round. That's a puncher to me. Najee Lopez, I think, is going to be a dude with respectable power. You just can't walk him down. But I don't think it's going to be somebody that's going to, get you the fuck up out of there. I don't think he's going to have the power of a Callum Smith. He damn sure ain't going to have the power of a better Biev. That's just not going to happen. He could maybe have the power of a Bevo or something like that, but, just respectable power. But, I think that, defensively, he could stand to, work on his defensive, skills a little bit more, man, because the carrying your hand low, that is that's a habit that I'm really just not fond of, man, with how low these fighters carry their hands. I'm like, why aren't you picking your hands up, man, especially when you're cut? Just this whole, keeping your hands right here, man. Y'all at that level, man, y'all are right in there with dudes who are, these is dudes who can shut your lights out. Not as quick as the next individual, But these are still dudes who can shut your lights out, man. I just never understood that, why y'all carry your hands so low. But he carries his hands a little too low for my liking, man. And I feel like, yo, you could, hold the phone a little bit better. Hold the phone a little bit better, and when you get, just hold the phone a little bit better. Because he was getting clipped, man. And this is a dude who's cut open. Like, you cut, man. You got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself, and he wasn't protecting himself to the point that I like him. That I would like him to. With me being, because I think the dude has a pretty high ceiling. But once again, it could be just because he got, he suffered an early cut. But this was good for him, man. This was good for him. He persevered. He persevered. He got the stoppage. Do I agree with the stoppage? Yeah, I can agree with the stoppage. He persevered. He was cut. He got dropped. He was losing a lot of those rounds. That was a competitive fight. We talking anybody's fight. I don't think it was no clear, man, well, he clearly winning the fight. It was none of that going, in that fight as the fight started unfolding. That was a slugfest. That was a slugfest. And for him to come out and persevere the way that he did, facing an early knockdown, early as far as, his career is concerned, and getting cut, I think that's a really good look for him. I think he'll be sharper going into his next fight. He'll be tougher. He's been through it. This is the type of circumstances you want a fighter to go through early in his career. So when it's time for him to get to that championship level and contendership level, he won't, he won't have as much work. He won't have as much waters to navigate, like trying to figure this shit out. Because a lot of people get dropped and they never really, able to recover from that, because now the allure is gone, and just it's a mental break, man. It's a mental break. And a lot of it is just due to your deficiencies defensively. So y'all can go right back to the drawing board, buff that shit out. By the time you ready to get in the ring again, you good money. So I hope he, I have faith in Najee Lopez. Him and both, because I made a video about him and Khalil Cole not too long ago, and I was not impressed with Khalil Cole in his last fight. I thought Jesse Hart won that fight. I was really disappointed in Khalil Cole. I thought he got a gift, and I think he should run that back. But yeah, bro, he just didn't look good in his last fight. But in this fight with man, you got Gallegos, they talking about a rematch, which I don't think he should do another rematch. I think, yo, man, all right, cool, you got that, you grinded that out, man. Just go. You just go, because he's been in there with you. He's used to you. He's used to your patterns. Y'all went in there 10 rounds in that ring. He's gonna remember all that data, And I just going about your business, man. Just going about your business, because you really gonna risk something fucking with that dude. Y'all, he didn't even put Khalil Cole. Well, no, he did put Khalil Cole down. He did put him down the first match. This dude ain't nothing to play with, man. So Najee, you got that win. Just go on about your business. But let's give Gallegos let's get him in there with a Katayev or something like that. Let's get him in there with a Buatsi, or a Zach Parker. Let's get him somewhere. Get him in there with someone along them lines, man. It's some reputable names that he can stand to fight at at light heavyweight. Let's put him in front of them dudes. It's some big, it's some reputable dudes up there. Let's get him some work. But Najee Lopez, wasn't the best outing. It was an entertaining outing. It was a gritty and grimy outing. But, I did see some shit that had me like, man, I don't know, bro. So as of now, let's not put his name up in there with the Callums and the Buatsis and the Benavidez's and the Bivol Beterbievs and the let's not put him in there with them dudes just yet. Morrell, let's not put him in there with them dudes just yet. Let's not put him in there with them cats. Let's pump the brakes. Let's give him a couple more fights. It's only March. He can squeeze in another 2 fights this year. And let's see how he, how he's able to bounce back from this. And can he add certain sedatives to his game, or, additives to his game, and fix his, leaky defense? And I think he can. But until then, let's chill and let's get him in. Let's step him up slightly above a Gallegos level and see where we go from here on out. But yeah, man, salute to Najee Lopez. I'm cheering for you, man. Doses.